Today, Russian reconnaissance teams that infiltrated Zabalka district in Toretsk found themselves trapped and eliminated by precise Ukrainian artillery and FPV drones coordinated from terrikon observation posts. The failed advance prevented Russians from securing a vital secondary logistics route to advance in Toretsk, Donetsk Oblast. Here, the Russians intensified their attacks in the southern part of the city in an attempt to cut off the Ukrainian forces from the ones in the central high-rise district. But the Russian assault units broke up and bogged down, setting the stage for a powerful Ukrainian counterattack. The Zabalka district in southern Toretsk holds significant tactical value for the ongoing battle in the city. This district includes a key avenue that stretches toward Russian-held central high-rises, which could serve as an essential secondary logistics route. If secured, this route would allow the Russians to double their troop deployments to the central high-rises, enhancing resupply and reinforcement capabilities for continued operations to seize Toretsk. Additionally, Russian control of Zabalka would help prevent Ukrainian counterattacks from severing their forces in the city center, solidifying their hold and bolstering the overall offensive. Earlier, Russian forces achieved minor gains in the northern part of the Zabalka district, motivating them to push forward with further assaults to secure control. To expedite their advance, Russian command deployed a sabotage and reconnaissance group deeper into the Ukrainian-held areas of Zabalka. The Russian fighters encountered minimal resistance, with Ukrainian forces dispersed through much of the district, resulting in a relatively quick advance behind the lines. The Russian reconnaissance groups concluded that the lack of substantial Ukrainian positions in Zabalka would allow for an efficient Russian assault. However, Ukrainian forces had established their primary defensive positions on the terrikons west of the district and at the nearby coal mine complex. These terrikons serve as strategic observation points, enabling Ukrainian troops to monitor Russian movements and relay coordinates to artillery and drone units. From these elevated vantage points, along with fortified positions in the coal mine's high-rise buildings, the Ukrainians effectively control Zabalka without needing to station ground forces directly within the district. This setup allowed the Ukrainians to detect and eliminate Russian reconnaissance units that ventured deep into Zabalka. Targeted drone and artillery strikes significantly weakened and disrupted the Russian units, bogging them down and preventing them from relaying information to the main Russian forces. These reconnaissance units, operating in small groups rather than as fully equipped assault teams, were intended to infiltrate, create pressure points, and distract Ukrainian forces, paving the way for the main Russian assault. However, the disrupted Russian units failed to establish the conditions needed for a larger offensive, effectively trapping themselves within the area. This situation allowed Ukrainian stormtroopers, supported by M113 armored vehicles, to advance into the gray zone occupied by disorganized Russian reconnaissance units. The combination of fire support from the armored vehicles and the effectiveness of the Ukrainian assault teams left the previously shelled and casualty-sensitive Russian units with no chance to regroup. Consequently, most of the Russian forces in Zabalka were decimated, leading them to abandon their operation and withdraw from the area. Overall, the Russians tried to mount an advance in the southern part of Toretsk, but reconnaissance units got bogged down and never provided intel for the main attack, which led to their destruction by a powerful Ukrainian counterattack. As the Ukrainian counterattack gained momentum, the Russian Air Force was ordered to bombard the Ukrainian positions in the district, as seen in combat footage. This was done in a desperate attempt to disperse and halt the Ukrainian advance, in fear that they might uppercut the Russian forces in the central part of the city, which is very likely the next phase of the Ukrainian counterattack operations. Currently, Russia has suffered the third greatest single day of losses of troops in Ukraine since Russia began its full-scale invasion in February 2022, according to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The ministry's post on X, formerly known as Twitter, says Russia lost 1,630 personnel on October 25th, amounting to a total of 685,910 Russian soldiers lost since the beginning of the war. The Ministry of Defense's post, with information about additional losses of weapons and vehicles, was accompanied by the quote, "Out of difficulties grow miracles," by Jean de la Bruyère. The highest number of soldiers Russia has lost in a single day was 1,740 on May 12th. The previous second highest number of Russian troops lost earlier this month was 1,530 men in one day. According to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine's post on X, Russia also lost 33 armored fighting vehicles, 34 artillery systems, 7 tanks, 1 air defense system, 73 UAVs, 79 vehicles and fuel tanks, and 22 pieces of special equipment today. Since Monday, Russia has lost 7,390 troops in Ukraine, according to Armed Forces of Ukraine's figures. Russia has also lost 188 artillery systems, 383 UAVs, 176 armored fighting vehicles, and more since Monday. Moscow also had rising losses of UAVs and artillery systems through last month, and they have only fallen this past month. In addition to high losses of Russian troops, Moscow's artillery losses amounted to $8 billion in 2024 alone. These Russian losses come after the U.S. confirmed that Pyongyang had deployed troops to Russia after similar reports were made by South Korea and Ukraine. White House spokesperson John Kirby said that he believes 3,000 North Korean soldiers are being trained in Russia after South Korean intelligence released satellite photos of North Korean soldiers training in Russia's Far East. Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to confirm the presence of North Korean soldiers in Russia as he told foreign journalists, "Images are a serious thing. If there are images, they reflect something regarding the South Korean satellite images."
Смотрел!